Hello, everybody. Welcome to another review from the Power Bomb Project. I am one of your hosts, Daniel, joined by my other two hosts.
It's Berman.
Chris again.
And today, we're reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So, before we hop into this, I'm just going to get into some general thoughts. The first half will be non-spoiler. The second half will feature spoilers. I just have to say that if you like the first two Guardians of the Galaxy movies, you're definitely going to like this one as well. And it has a lot to offer as well, in my personal opinion. And people will feel some kind of way about it. A lot of people love it. I haven't seen too much hate, but there are those people probably out there. But people will find a reason to hate on anything. I thought this was amazing. And yeah, before we hop into this, what did you guys think?
I think it was a great movie. I really loved it. There was a few parts that was kind of maybe a little cringe, but I talked about that when it was in the review. But I think it was a great movie. I really did love it.
And listen, guys, animal cruelty, best kind of movie. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, Peter's coming for you.
So,
Don't take that out of context.
if they do, I won't feel sorry for you. So, when it comes to this movie, I will say this, non-spoiler half. I thought that you have a lot of funny moments, just like the first two movies and the other stuff featuring the Guardians. However, I will say that it doesn't feel like there are as many comedic attempts this time around. That's at least how I felt about it. And I will say, in my personal opinion, a good majority of the comedic parts will hit. There might be a few times where you're not really feeling it, but for the most part, I love the comedy in this movie, and I think a lot of people will too. So, yeah, and when I say that, the comedy is obviously just James Gunn style comedy. You guys pretty much know how that is by this point. And yeah, but what I will say is that it kind of was like Peacemaker to me in a similar sense, to where there was a lot of fun, a lot of comedy, but at the root of it all, it had an actual mature story in a way. And yeah, I feel like when you look at the past few MCU projects, this is definitely a more mature superhero project in comparison to the past few. And yeah, I feel like everyone plays their part as well. Everyone has a reason to be in this film. Everyone has a part to play. And yeah, I will say the MVP of this movie for me personally would be Bradley Cooper voice acting as Rocket Raccoon. That's kind of a no-brainer, the easy one. There is a villain in this movie named the High Evolutionary, and you'll see what kind of villain he is. He is not a villain that is trying to be cool or likable. No, this is a villain who is flat out evil and meant to be unlikable. That is the entire point of this villain, and it is executed pretty damn well as you could possibly think it could be executed. So, yeah. I feel like this is what I will say. It is 2.5 hours, and it is kind of annoying how almost everything feels the need to be 2.5 hours or 3 hours these days, but I will say this movie had a reason to be that long. It didn't really drag too much. It went by. The time did go by, and that's a good thing about it. My only major critique of this movie, well, it's not even a major critique, because it's a critique I'm just going to have with probably every MCU film going forward, unfortunately, is that despite the high budget they have, some of the VFX just, all the special effects in this movie, it just isn't really perfect. Especially when they're on Counter Earth, that's when it is the most noticeable, unfortunately. But the movie is amazing. It definitely has replay value. And I think that's one of the most important things about a movie, having replay value, and this movie does have that. It is one of the very few shining stars in post-Endgame MCU. So overall, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, for me, it was a fun. It was very fun. I loved all the music. I think to me, I love the soundtrack. You didn't talk about that, but I think the soundtrack. I mean, it's so goddamn good. It sounds so good too. I love the soundtracks of Guardian of the Galaxy because of how it sounds very old, but it sounds really nice too. I loved I kind of loved a lot of the characters. For me, yes, Rocket Raccoon is one of the main focuses, but I kind of really like Drax in there. Like, we talked about it in a spoiler, but it was a fun part where on, they were talking to some kids, and it was very funny how Drax was kind of acting, and it was very fun to talk more. We talked about this more in a spoiler, but I really loved Drax in that movie. You see a little bit more about him. I really loved the Adam Warlock. He kind of looked like a retard, but he was very fun. Like, he was a very fun retard, I would say. Too. I would definitely give this to probably 9. I really loved how the movie is. It was very good. I loved it.
It was fun little. And guys, they say the F word in this movie. They say
Oh yeah, everyone made a big deal out of that. I was like,
oh, okay. But realistically, with no spoilers, it's one of my favorites. It's a better sequel than the second movie because the second movie still sucks ass. But the third one, I think it's a lot better than the first one, actually. And I'm gonna stand by that. There's just so many great moments. There's so many I can't spoil it too much because I know this movie's been out for like a hot second, but people still want to watch it, so go see it. It's wonderful. It's sad. Probably one of the edgier Marvel movies I've seen in a hot second, so... And it's a good send-off, too, for James Gunn's last, like, Marvel-directed movie.
you said your rating's 9?
Yeah.
Okay. So we all agree it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
So now let's hop into these spoilers. Yeah, I kind of want to respond first to the Adam Warlock point that Berman made. Yeah, I think that's definitely the point of it. You know, he definitely isn't the most intelligent quite yet because he is young. He is still learning a lot. Like you saw throughout this movie, it was all a lesson for him. The whole movie was a lesson for him in a way. And yeah, I think he'll be a great character. He's one of the most powerful in Marvel. And I think eventually he will be built up to that point. But I think starting him off here at kind of like a younger, more ignorant standpoint, I actually kind of like it. I think it's more unique. I think it's different. And I think if done right, Adam Warlock could have one of the best character arcs in the entire MCU.
Yeah, I agree with what I said before, and I really loved it too. The mother, mother. It was a weird relationship. It was funny. And there was one part that made me laugh really heavily. It was when they wanted to interrogate someone, and then she said, show him that we mean business, and then just Adam kills the guy, and I'm like, that's not how you show him you mean business. So like, it was very funny how that, like, he doesn't know what some phrases mean or what he doesn't understand, but it's like it's ignorance at its best. But I think, and I gotta say, the actor who did it, perfect. He did it very well, you know, too. I think Adam definitely. I can't wait to see more from Adam with him actually going to be. He's one of the characters, and he's going to be in one of the. He is one of the Guardians of the Galaxy with Rocket at the end of the movie too. So I think it was very. I think Adam Warlock is one of those really good ones.
He was honestly my favorite part of the movie too, just for the fact that Warlock was just. I wouldn't say he was like an idiot, but like he was just. Wait, no, never mind. No, he's an idiot.
Yeah, but again, it's kind of the point. It's kind of the point of his character right now. Like, he's gonna have an arc where he becomes a noble, intelligent hero.
I don't know about that, Daniel. I don't know about that. I was trying to defend him for like a hot second, and I paused, and I was like, wait a minute.
Well,
no.
Let's ask the
This man's
most important question. Let's ask the most important question, though.
What?
Did you like the character?
I did. I really did.
Then that's what matters most.
He's just Homelander, but more stupid.
You know, I've been hearing a lot about him A lot of people have actually been saying this, and I think this is absolutely invalid. A lot of people are saying like, "Oh, Adam Warlock didn't really do anything in this movie. Anyone could have played Adam Warlock." I don't see how that's the case personally.
Yeah, I disagree with that too. I think that's. I don't think that's not valid.
Bro,
Yeah, not valid at all.
he literally torched the guy to death by accident. It took his little cute dog.
Yeah,
Not anybody could do that and make
And
it funny.
And saved
yeah.
Peter Quinn. Peter Quill.
And think about it, he almost beat all the Guardians by himself in the beginning of the film. He's gonna become even better later on.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the superstar, Rocket Raccoon. I think that whole story was a phenomenal story, and you could say it kind of might be overplayed in the way of how MCU always kind of goes to experimentation, because you know it happened with Winter Soldier, it happened with Nebula, and now we're seeing it with Rocket. But I'm kind of going to defend this. This story was obviously something that was planned out ever since the very first movie, and if you don't know that, go and do your research, because there are clues in the first movie and there are clues in the second movie. This was the clear-cut end for the movie, and that's why the Chris Pratt and Zoe story was kind of the side story. It was kind of put on the bar burner. Also because the Avengers movies aren't written by James Gunn, so who knows if he would have even written Gamora to die like that. Who even knows? So, yeah, that's really all I can say on that. I thought the story with Rocket was amazing, emotional, and yeah, it just kind of brought back that similar vibe from the first movie that had that emotional story with Peter. This time they did that with Rocket, and I think that just really worked for the best.
Yeah, to me the same thing. It was kind of, it was so sad to see that he was like getting tortured. 1 and 2, he watched his friends die. To me, it was very sad. It was definitely a very edgy movie, 100%. Yeah, I think one part was funny. It was kind of funny and kind of interesting. It was that when it was pretty at the end when he was saving the other raccoons, and he always said in the first movie and pretty much any movie he was in, he says, "I'm not a raccoon." Then he looks up and sees, "Oh, I am a raccoon." He sees the name saying, "Oh, I'm a raccoon," actually. So he kind of accepts, "Well, I'm a raccoon. Let's be Rocket Raccoon." And it was a very saying like, "Well, I accept it now because I now know who I am." So I think it was a cool part, and I think the Rocket story was definitely one of the key points of this whole thing. To see the torture and seeing how Rocket's life kind of lived up to this. So I think it was very interesting.
Yeah, it was sad. And also, too, what I really enjoyed is we got a good villain because the creator was an absolute piece of shit. But he was a good villain through and through. He's just someone you just had to hate, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but Kane doesn't have anything on this guy. Like, with all of his crap going on, maybe they get rid of the Kane and focus more on the creator, because literally he was like the second best part of this movie. Just how chaotic, like, it kind of reminded me of Jim Carrey's acting. Like from the 90s, of how like cartoonishly evil he was, and just absolutely like just cruel to Raccoon and the Guardians too. It was absolutely genius. I think he's up there with Thanos. Call me crazy, but it was pretty damn good.
I think he's third. I'd put him under Killmonger and Thanos. I'd put him at number 3.
Nah,
if we're talking about like a dislikability standpoint and like, oh, I hate this guy, then probably number 1. Like, if you're talking pure, like, hatred for a villain, he's probably number 1. But in terms of, like, overall villains that, like, you know, I think are just excellently told their stories, I'd say he's number 3. Because, think about it like this, okay? It's a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. If this was called Rocket Raccoon, then I feel like he'd have a bit more substance than he does. But the issue is that he has nothing else to really do with the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And the minute he finally fought the Guardians of the Galaxy, he basically got whipped in 30 seconds by all of them.
Well, he's
And
not
they
like
ended
a
up
god or
sparing him.
anything.
So that's just what I mean, though. He was very easy to stop compared to Thanos and Killmonger as well. So it kind of took away from the credibility a bit from him. Just a tad bit.
Just a little bit. But I still think he's up there. There's something interesting and fun.
He is.
But
it's because the actor is great, too. Shout out to that dude being able to play both a hero and a villain in James Gunn projects.
But that's the thing. Like, other than that, it just makes me sad because we're obviously gonna talk about the after credits, right? Or should we just wait a little bit more before we?
We'll wait till we're we'll wait more. I just kind of want to get through all these characters and kind of discuss them a bit.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you feel like anybody was like underutilized at all in the movie from the Guardians of the Galaxy guys?
Nebula.
In my personal opinion, no. If you want to argue one person, you could say Drax, but it's always been that way for Drax. Literally every movie it's been that way for Drax. That's just something that was never going to change.
Yeah, I don't think that for me. Drax, I think, was a really big, fun part about this movie, too.
Yeah, I think everyone was utilized perfectly fine out of the team. Because Mantis played her role. Drax played his role. Nebula had her arc where, she basically, went from being a cold killer who was Thanos' daughter in the first film to now kind of being like the one who kind of nurtures for the Guardians and cares for them. It's kind of a special character arc in that sense. And yeah, Gamora, I feel like the story between her and Peter is good. I feel like if they would have just gotten back together, it would have been a bit cliche. I'm glad they kind of went the route they did with that story. And yeah, with Groot, him becoming a walking head at one point was pretty funny. And, he also had moments where he just looked like an absolute powerhouse. And he did things in this film that I've never seen him do in any other. Like, for example, having 10 arms and having like 10 guns. That was such a sick moment when him and Peter were just fucking everyone up in that building. And then you got the hallway scene where everyone got a moment to shine. And yeah, I just feel like there were multiple moments where it proved to us that everyone is being utilized to some degree and everyone is required in order for the Guardians to get the W here and save all these animals being abused and in all the societies and stuff. And another thing I can genuinely say is that Drax, you can argue that he's underutilized, but I personally would say he's not. I feel like his character arc going from a destroyer to someone who is kind of a father to many to a new society, it's a great arc and it makes a lot of sense when you go all the way back to the first film. So that's kind of my opinion. I think everyone was utilized perfectly. I'm glad Peter wasn't really the spotlight again. I'm glad it kind of went to someone else here and it went to Rocket. And Peter still played a big part in the film. And yeah, everyone did their thing.
Yeah. For me, I was going to give a little bit more to Drax because I still feel like Drax had a lot of funny moments where he was kind of like helping. He was kind of helping Chris. He was helping Star-Lord. Like, hey, you want a peanut? And then Nebula says, "I want a peanut." No, there's no more. And then he next 2 seconds, he said he gets another nut from the bag. I'm like, and it's like, well, he doesn't care about Nebula. He doesn't care about Mantis. So it was very kind of funny. I feel like that was one. And two, when he was interacting with kids, it was like he usually was like a dad. He was trying to be. He was kind of his redemption from losing his daughter. His daughter was to help these kids and be their father. And it was very funny to see like him talking in his language to these kids. Him like dancing with the kids, trying to make them happy and stuff. You don't see that from Drax, so I think it was a very fun thing. I feel like to me that was my favorite part. Was the Drax, because it was just so. It's like, well, it's a redemption for him. Now he's going to be a father. Finally, he can be a father to 100 kids.
Sorry to interrupt, but you know what else I like about that Drax dancing scene you're talking about? Remember what was Drax's first line in this movie? Dancing is for idiots.
Yeah, and now he was dancing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you just said, redemption arc. You're completely right.
Yeah, so to me, I think Drax was probably one of my favorites. It was just so many funny parts. It was that, and same thing. I would say Mantis too. Like, yeah, she was still being like, yeah, it was really dumb, but she still kind of was funny. I think the part when she was trying to tame those monsters, those like weird tentacle monsters. I don't know what they're called, but it was a kind of fun scene. So I think that was pretty interesting to see that and she's leaving away. And what was the other one? I think it was, and then and do say that the Adam Warlock thing too, when he saved Star-Lord before he was dying. So it's kind of an interesting part to that whole kind of thing.
Yeah, and Mantis. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
So you finish up the Mantis.
Yeah, and Mantis kind of helped Peter realize, like, maybe he should return home. And, she kind of helped him realize that in the film.
And he did. And didn't come home with his grandpa, really happy to see him. And it was a really, I think that part kind of teared man, but it was kind of teared me up a little bit to see, like, Chris Pratt going to his dad's house, and, like, his dad barely even to walk, stood up and hugged him. Like, it was a very touching moment to see kind of the reunion between these two. So that was one part. That was one thing that was really fun to see with the Star-Lord kind of thing. But I think there's one person we have not talked about yet, and I forgot his goddamn name. It was that guy with the mohawk.
Yes, and Cosmo.
Yeah, that was a fun part because he like it was kind of like a trade-off, because technically now he is Yondu, but you just didn't know. Like, it was very funny, like "you're a bad dog," and then when he came back, and then at the end he says, "No, you're good dog," and it was that, and then him finally understanding how to use the arrow, the whistling arrow. So I think it was very fun to see that he was kind of finally understood how to use the arrow and how to be useful in this film. To me, that was a fun part with that guy. The other thing, I think, Nebula. I think Nebula too. I didn't say anything about her yet, but Nebula was a very fun character too. I think the augments that she has with I don't know, it's like a metal arm that can change into different stuff, so make into different weapons. Very cool. I think you don't see that very often. I think that's a really interesting push.
Yeah.
So I think that's most of the characters I kind of want to really say. Actually, the villain, I didn't say anything yet. Yeah, I think I agree with Quista a little bit, where saying that definitely he's right up there as hated, very hated, but he's still number 3. I'll always say number 1, always Killmonger. I think Killmonger is probably one of the best acted villains and the best brutal ones too. So I still think that, but I think definitely this third villain just really, you want to hate him so much. So yeah, I think it was very interesting. Very interesting. I really liked it too.
Yeah, agreed. So, Chris, you want to take it away with the after credits?
Well, I know his headset died, I think, but
yeah, probably.
You can finish up you can say the after credits yourself.
Yeah, we'll just talk about it, I guess. Chris just died out of nowhere. I don't know, folks, but anyways, so this is what happened in the first after credit scene. We have oh shit, sorry about that. We have the first after credit scene, and it was Rocket, Adam Warlock, Groot, and a few others kind of talking. And basically, I'm sorry, hold on, Chris, can you hold on, sorry, a lot's going on with my animals right now. Pause the video, please. So Rocket and a few friends saw an army going after them. I guess the war with the High Evolutionary is still somewhat continuing. I don't know if any of these people will return. Adam Warlock most definitely, so probably a few others for cameo's sake. And yeah, it's confirmed that Drax and Gamora are for sure done. And basically, it is confirmed in the other after credits that Star-Lord is confirmed to have his own solo project. So yeah, what do you think about the possibility of Star-Lord having this solo film?
I think it was fun. I think it sounds fun to me to see Star-Lord. We don't know. We haven't seen him in like a big action-packed kind of thing where like he was the main focus of an action or a fight. So that I know of that I can think of. So I can't wait. I'm just hoping that's not going to be like a She-Hulk, or it's going to be like something not fun, or like a Marvel, or like a Miss Marvel. But it will be a literal show with Star-Lord with another villain or something fun. To me, I think it sounds fun to have them have a Star-Lord character.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that it'll still be good, just because James Gunn is gone, and if I was Marvel, I would be kind of shitting myself knowing that this dude's about to be our competition, because he's a great creative mind, and I'm excited for his DCEU, and I have a lot of hope heading into Superman Legacy, which will be his first DC project of the new universe. So get hype, people.
It's gonna be cool, but since James Gunn isn't directing the film anymore, I'm kind of like not interested anymore with Marvel in general. It depends how they go about the direction of Chris Pratt, because you can't really capture like him, because it's such like what's the word for it? Like the correct term.
You can't capture his passion. You can't capture his care.
There you go. Like, I'm sure it's gonna be good, but if James Gunn isn't behind it, I'm probably not gonna watch it unless it's like on a discounted Tuesday or something. But other than that, I'm just like, I'm fine.
We'll just go to DC and support his shit.
Yeah.
So that's all we have to say, folks. We hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Daniel.
I've been Berman.
I've been Chris.
And we'll see you all in the next video. Take it easy.